Good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis, and welcome to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me in the program for today, Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. It's the beginning of a new month, which means new opportunities, new beginnings, and new things happening for you and your family. When we open the phone lines, you may call us at 662-8674. That is 662-8674. And this conversation is also being carried live via our social media platforms. So check us out on our YouTube channel at ZIZ Online and via Facebook at ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation. And we are also on TV Channel 5. But again, thank you so much for joining the program for today. And I look forward to engaging with you, the listeners of this program. I want to bring to the conversation today just a few things, and of course to get your feedback on these matters of national importance. I want to share firstly a statement from the St. Kitts and Nevis, from the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs, or surrounding or related to the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs, and this is with regards to the St. Kitts and Nevis engaging in a regional dialogue on youth protection. So Nerissa Williams, the acting permanent secretary in the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs here in St. Kitts and Nevis, as well as Azilla Clark, permanent secretary in the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs, represented St. Kitts and Nevis at the Youth Protection Seminar hosted under the European Union's LPA CTO 2.0 program in Colombia from March 25th to 27th, 2025. So this seminar brought together policymakers, justice system actors, and youth development specialists from Latin America and the Caribbean to share strategies for strengthening protection systems for children and young people, particularly in the face of organized crime and social vulnerability. The participation of the two permanent secretaries underscored St. Kitts and Nevis's continued commitment to advancing justice sector reform and social development policies that are responsive to the needs of youth and aligned with international human rights obligations, including Sustainable Development Goals 16 and 5. Discussions across the 3-day program addressed a range of thematic areas, including the gendered impact of organized crime on adolescents, restorative justice, and juvenile diversion programs, and multi-tiered prevention strategies. Sessions of particular interest to the St. Kitts and Nevis delegation included panels on restorative juvenile justice practices, community-based prevention models, and the role of public policy in promoting youth resilience. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis extends its appreciation to the organizations or the organizers of the seminar, including the European Union, the government of Colombia, for facilitating this exchange, which leads into the other topic I wanted to mention. So today we're entering a new month, the month of March, and it is significant. It is significant in many ways because it means that St. Kitts and Nevis has not had a homicide for 2025, and I believe for more than 5 months or just about 6 months. Now, there's some people who would say, let's not celebrate too fast. Let's not rejoice and say, well, you don't know what is going to happen. And I listen to people who would make that comment. But for me, It is something that is worth recognizing. Of course, this is not to turn a blind eye or to forget those young men and women who we have lost as a result of crime and violence. And our hearts continue to go out to the family and friends and loved ones of those who lost their lives as a result of crime and violence. But I believe it is worth recognizing, and this is as a result of the work put in by you. This is as a result of the work put in by you, the people. Those of you who assisted law enforcement, those of you who participated in the various consultations that were had across the country, where you were given the opportunity to share your ideas for tackling crime and violence, those of you who participated in the process. This is as a result of that. But yes, some would say, man, let's not talk too fast because you don't know. And the truth is, nobody knows. Nobody knows the future. But I think it is something worth recognizing, because it is never good news. It is never a good feeling when we hear the news that we have lost another one through crime and violence. And so it is something that is worth celebrating. It is something that our people should stop and think and reflect and say, this is good. This is good. Whatever we are doing, we need to continue. Whatever the ideas that we've been sharing, let's continue to share them. Those of us who have been working with the law enforcement, let's continue to do that. Law enforcement who've been going above and beyond, continue to do that. The government who has been providing the resources, continue to do that. It is 13 minutes past. We'll take a break. And when we come back, we'll continue the conversation here on The Edge. Stay with us.
When I wake up in the morning, I just have to smile. National Caribbean Insurance is on my side, granting you a peace of mind is what they do. At every stage of life, NCI is there for you. For 45 years, National Caribbean Insurance has been serving, protecting, and satisfying the people of St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla. Over 4 decades of financial soundness, NCI takes pride in being number one. National Caribbean Insurance offers a diverse range of superior insurance products. An experienced staff is always ready to assist. NCI is committed to satisfying all your insurance needs. We serve, we protect, we satisfy. That's NCI. When I wake up in the morning, I just have to smile. National Caribbean Insurance is on my side, granting you a peace of mind is what they do. At every stage of life, NCI is there for you.
Under the distinguished patronage of the District President, Bishop the Reverend Damian E. Hughes, J.P., and Mrs. Hughes, the Methodist Church St. Kitts Circuit MCCA Men's Commission presents an awards banquet honoring male local preachers on Friday, 25th April at the Carambola Beach Club at 6 in the evening. Donation $150. Tickets can be purchased at the church office on Seaton Street. Entertainment includes vocal, trumpet, and steel band renditions.
Hello and welcome back to The Edge here in ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Devonne Cornelius and thank you for joining me in the program for today. We are going to open the phone lines now and begin taking your calls at 662-8674. That is 662-8674. Call us and lend your voice to the conversation at hand. But the reason why I believe this is something that is worth recognizing is because it encourages continued progress. So recognizing this success can, I believe, motivate law enforcement, policymakers, and people generally in the community to keep up the efforts that have led to this reduction. I think it boosts public confidence when people see that crime has or can be controlled. It restores faith in the justice system and leadership. Fear decreases and communities feel safer. It also attracts investment and tourism. And so a safer country is more appealing to investors and visitors, both of which boost the economy. And highlighting this success can improve the country's international image. We have our first caller for this morning, so we'll take this call. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Devon. Good morning, Devon.
Yes, caller, good morning.
Oh, you hear me? Okay. I hear the whisper back from you, that's why. No, Devon, first I also want to give God thanks for life. And I believe that in this little federation of Sinkit and Nevis, if we the people work as one, we can get crime, we can get things under control. But if we sometimes does nothing and sittings and allow things up because of whatever political party join up into one of these things, you know. We use it as a political weapon. But I do think we should use crime as that. And I'm so glad to see that the young man them behaving themselves now, put down the guns and trying to be more positive and everything and do what they're supposed to do, maybe go look a job, be their own entrepreneur and all those things. Mm-hmm. Now they're gone, but on the road, I believe we have too much of road fatality, man. So much of road fatality. I don't know what's really going on the road with this load of accidents. I know the police, they're on the road and they can't do more what they can do. But I do not know what causing all these accidents. I mean, some of these young drivers who just get a license, I mean, some of them even don't get a license and get an accident too. I want to know what the law enforcement will do with these young men who don't have a license and driving and taking people's life. You understand? Because I made to understand that one of these young guys who was driving and getting an accident with this young girl, I think the young girl or something, he ain't had no license. So something needs serious to look into these things. We need to stop, look and listen. Devon, something wrong, right? And I want to give my condolences out to my good friend Morgan, because I made to understand he was his son, Sergeant Morgan or Corporal Morgan. I made to understand he's his son, so I want to give my condolences to the 15 years old, to his family.
Mm-hmm. But before you go, Carla, what do you think is the solution to the issue of crime and even with the road fatalities or the accidents?
What do I think are the issues?
No, the solution. Like how do we address this? What do you think we should do to fix this?
Well, with the law enforcement they done pass some law in the house, some hash traffic law. And I don't know. These young men look like they don't listen. Some of these young people don't listen. Because some of these law what I hear pass in the house. And you got to go pay this kind of money when you get in them kind of serious, get accident or even just got somebody car or driving intoxicated or something, got in alcohol or whatsoever. And these la pass, and you're still doing the ignorance. Well, I believe that when they catch them, they do what they got to do with them, take with the license for 2 years, 5 years or something. Let them go sit down, let them go cut grass or do something else. Because I believe life is a trade, you know. When you got a license, you got a trade, you could get a driving job. Eh? And you got a license and going to take a farm fool with it and get in an accident, do stupidness on the road. Yeah, make no sense. So my solution is to do what I got to do with the law. Press on the take the license for 2 years, 5 years. Do something, and when a man here, they're going to lose the license for 5 years. What are you going to do? Who are you going to try to do better? Who ain't getting nothing, you're going to try to do better? Okay, then, brother Devon, may God bless you and keep you.
All right, Carl, thank you so much for your contribution to the program. It's 11:21, and you're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio, 96.1 FM. The caller made a point as it relates to the road accidents and the fatalities. Of course, we continue to encourage people to drive safely, and I believe the authorities have been doing as much as they can to reduce the accidents. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, I like the topic this morning. But in my opinion, we need more strict enforcement of the law. I think we are slacking very much in that. If each officer with tickets, and each of them must account for how much people that they come in contact with and work on some sort of incentive basis. The more you bring in, you get an incentive. We need money in the treasury. So let us have more strict enforcement. Get the presence of the police on the street and hold all of them accountable. How much people that they come in contact with weekly. And as I say, give them an incentive. But the problem here in this country is strict enforcement. For the longest time, I haven't heard of any tickets issued to anybody or any report from the magistrate that they charge so much people for this. But we hear accidents every day. That's my input. Strict enforcement. And I make no apology for that. Thank you.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution to the program. I mean, you're absolutely correct. Strict enforcement of the laws. I believe the police, law enforcement, have been doing a really good job in enforcing the law. But, you know, the reality is, on one hand, we call for strict enforcement. And when there is strict enforcement, we cuss the police. We say, why the police don't go sit down and try to solve the murders then? Especially when we're talking about traffic laws. For those of you who may follow the police via social media, particularly on Facebook, from time to time they would share updates on how many tickets they have issued to people who are driving vehicles that are not in proper condition to be on the road. And so people who are driving without proper headlamps, people who are driving with tires that are showing thread, people who are driving without seatbelt, people who are intoxicated while driving, people who are speeding, going over the speed limit, and all of these things. And so from time to time, they would issue an update as to how many people they have issued tickets to for these traffic offenses. Should there be more stringent enforcement, or more stricter laws, or a more emphasis on enforcing the law? Absolutely. That is absolutely welcomed. But at the same time, we must acknowledge the work that the police have been doing as it relates to enforcing the traffic laws and ensuring that our people our drivers and pedestrians alike are safe while using the road. With the recent accidents that took place, there have been increased calls for the authorities to do more to address this issue. But the harsh truth is, the responsibility lies on us. The authorities can do all in their power. They can make the laws more stringent. They can put speed bumps here and there. They can do everything that one could possibly think of. But I will tell you this. It takes individual responsibility of driving carefully. It takes individual responsibility. And so we must take responsibility for our actions. It cannot be a case that we've been hearing of all these accidents and there are people who are gladly driving carelessly, endangering their lives and the lives of others and the lives of their loved ones. That for me is concerning. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation here on The Edge. Stay tuned.
Whether it's a dress store on 4th Street, a snack in Cayon, or a village grocery in St. Paul's, our small businesses play an important role in our economy. By supporting these businesses, you are helping to create or keep a job or two and to revive our economy. Support our local small businesses. Buy local and keep the doors to our small businesses open. This message is brought to you by ZIZ in support of our small businesses across the Federation.
Out of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge, with host Devonne Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
Welcome back to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me on the program for today. We are looking at crime and violence and the fact that we have not had any murders for the past 6 months, which also for me strengthens community involvement, because crime reduction is often tied to strong community policing, social programs, and personal responsibility. So if people see that their efforts are working, I believe that they'll be encouraged to do even more. And it also helps to change the narrative, in the sense that the Caribbean is often unfairly labeled as crime-ridden, and celebrating or recognizing this milestone challenges the perception and shows that positive change is possible. We have a call on the line. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning. You're on the air, caller.
Yeah, good morning again, Devon. Yeah, Devon, yes.
Yes,
yeah,
go ahead.
Devon, yeah, politics. No, it's travel in public, right? Yeah, let me turn on the radio, please. And show me. It's travel in public, right? We got to blame them for some of these serious accidents, you know. Because they're traveling on this passenger bus. And when the police, they are stopping them across by University and any other way, they're cussing the police, them. Not the drivers, them, no, the traveling public cutting the police, them. Hey, what they don't go look at the gunman, them? What they don't go look at the robbers and the thieves, them? Let this boss man them know. Let the man them make the money. I just tell them, I just play it. Why I want them to go? Let it just boil and stupid on the road, and then everybody get in accident and somebody get killed. And 5 of them get killed the other day. Some about down there. I know that, right? And I still talking all this ignorance. And with the crime in the bank, with the crime, I tell you, let me go back to the crime, I tell you, with the crime. I was hearing a lot of negative things out there, right? From both parties with this crime. And I saw again. I'm glad these young men them come together and try to see one another as brothers. As real hygiene. Because when they that's one another, and that's one another with a passion. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad to see that the young man them put down the gun and trying to get something positive in life. Young man, I continue to do what I got to do and find something positive. We cannot allow other people come in this country and get our skill job, and you are in here and have nothing. You understand? Mm-hmm. So I'm glad for you all. Some of you done gone. Some of them done gone. Let the children them. Let phones for children. Yeah. Because I what they was into. Okay, then Devonne, you.
Mm-hmm. All right, Carla, thank you so much for your contribution to the program. I totally get where you're coming from, Carla, and also to add to that, I believe acknowledging the progress motivates continued efforts, because for me, if something is working, we need to highlight it so that we can do more of it. And if we stay quiet, we risk losing momentum. And celebration doesn't mean we're ignoring the work still left to be done. It means we recognize what's possible. Celebration or recognition, rather, doesn't mean we forget those who have lost their lives as a result of crime and violence. Of course, we cannot forget those people, but we must also recognize the work that has been done. And this is as a result of the collaboration of the community, law enforcement, and all other stakeholders. And that for me, it means something. That for me is absolutely amazing. And so we ought to be a proud people. We ought to be proud of ourselves for this achievement. And again, it's not a case where I don't want to coin it or describe it as a celebration, but more so as a recognition. You're recognizing the fact. Now, how do we keep this going? We do what we've been doing, and we continue to tweak it by adding new and fresh innovative ideas. And so we encouraging community involvement, where we keep strengthening community policing efforts and continue supporting programs that give young people alternatives to crime. And so the after-school programs, the programs in the communities, the different groups and organizations across St. Kitts and Nevis, these groups, these bodies are part of that crime prevention strategy. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Mr. Cornelius, sometimes we hear utterances of lack of manpower. We don't have enough manpower. I would like to suggest that they take on a few of those retired policemen to work as special constabularies and help them to do the job a little better. Just take on a few of them and help them, because they're knowledgeable a lot. Put them in help in the traffic. And then that's my suggestion. Take on a few more of those retired police.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, Carl, thank you so much for that contribution. Well, I mean, I don't see an issue with issuing the call for those two to come back to the service, but of course it's on a volunteer or when I say volunteer, in the sense that you're coming forward to say, yes, I want to do this. But of course, at the end of the day, you are compensated. But it's not a case where, you're being forced to come back into the service. Because in some cases, you've had people who've spent 20, 30 years, even close to 40 years in this field. And they would want to go home and enjoy their retirement. But what the caller has pitched is not a bad idea. We have a call in the line. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Gentleman. Good morning.
Good morning.
I understand the question that you asked. What is the problem? Over the years, I've done some studies on it. And I happen to apply something known as the DOME formula. DOME formula. The D is to diagnose the problem. The O is to find our objective. The M is to apply the method. And the E is for evaluation. And after I've done my evaluation, I came up with 2 words, just 2 simple words. Mental imbalance. Mental imbalance. And if we can't think properly, we are not in control of ourselves because we are mentally affected or infected, I would say. These things will happen. And what I have observed over the time is that there is an element of counterproductive. We're saying one thing and we're going and doing something else. And a lot of times when I pass around those shops, they're going to buy and people come in and say, sell me some brown and a wrapper. I look at it and I see what the shop people say. What is the brown and what is the wrapper? These are the elements that we provided to wrap the substance in. And I see that is a contributory factor to make the young people mentally imbalanced.
But that is your opinion, Carla. But do you have any science or data to back up that suggestion? Hello?
Hello?
Right, I asked if you have, I said that's a strong opinion, but do you have any science or data to back up that suggestion? Caller?
Are you there?
Yes, caller, I'm here. Are you hearing me? Hello?
I'm not hearing you too well. I'm not.
All right. Let's take this other call. 662-8674. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Devon.
Yes, good morning.
Hello, I hear the program and attempted to call. Mr. Politics come close to it. Let me say this. We as a nation think it's needed. We don't really know what we want. No, let me say, the police go out to do a job. A police job is to save lives as much as possible, to prevent what you call problems in all sorts. But the police will go out to do the job. I'm not saying they are consistent, but they go out to do the job sometimes. But most of the time they wait until it gets out of hand to go. But they go. But when they go now, and they stop the vehicles, the bus, the cars, what you're hearing, that people start to attack the police. They don't concern. Oh, I got to go walk. I late to go walk. Oh, I got to go. I go shopping. Oh, I got to go here. You're stopping me from where? They start to cuss the police. We don't know what we want. They're seeing the problem every day on the road. We got all sorts of confused drivers. Some of them ain't trained properly. And that is something we have to look into. The people who are training the learners to make sure they're teaching them properly. The next thing is that the people got to know what is police work, what the police work is all about. And the police need to tell them and to move in a proper way when they got to talk to them. Because you see, when you go in an angry way, you get people angry. But the police job is a job to save lives. Make sure you got on your seat belt. Make sure the bus is not overloaded. Because that's the next thing again. A lot of us will love to go in bus. But when the bus gets in a crash, and it's supposed to carry 15, and it got in 18, the insurance are not going to cover. And we don't understand that. And the driver can take himself out, and he's the problem because he overload the bus. And we got to learn to understand, make sure the bus got in the right before you go in, the right amount before you go in. Because you don't know what happened. And when the police come to make sure you got on your seatbelt, make sure that you're driving properly, you ain't impaired with no kind of thing, alcohol or whatever. Leave them alone and let them do the work. We are getting out of hand. We never saw once ago. But now we don't respect police. But you know, when anything happens, you know, the first thing we ask, where the police? Lord, I'm dead. Where the police? Where the ambulance? Lord, they still on there. But when the busman speeding, or the person who driving the car speeding, very rare they say cut down, but I drive properly, but I not stop overtake, but I don't do that. It's fun to them. But when it crash, we point the finger towards the ambulance and the police. We got to know what we want, and we got to make sure the people who are driving the bus are trained properly. That is something we need to do. We don't train the taxi men them to drive the passengers, the foreign passengers. Why the taxi men, why the busmen are not trained to drive the locals? If anybody could drive bus, by saying anybody could drive taxi. And these are the things we got to look into. And when the police come towards the bus, give him the okay to make sure that the bus having the right amount of passengers, the driver got on his seatbelt and his passengers, and he's not impaired and not speeding. We got to know what we want. We don't know what we want. I'm going to say this again. The police saying they don't have sufficient help, but that's not true. The police have a lot of social security members working with them. I'm to the port guard. Remember the port guard was used to be in blue with a khaki pant with a strip. The Honorable Douglas come and say, no, the port guard, I call them port police, well, I'm going to make them police, I'm going to give them the right to work with the police. But over time, they tried out the window. Once you remember, the police used to got a radio. They used to go on the hat, they used to dress like police, they used to got a shackle and the little book and a little baton. That is no more. Right. You see them up and down on the road. They're supposed to work with the police when the police need help. And all the other security. One to the special constable, when you look on the back to see police, they're supposed to work with the police. Stop put the police round the senator, put the people who they shot mark on police round there in the Anglican church and the Methodist church, and put the police to do their work. Right, and let the police be more consistent. Come out all the out and come out in unmarked cars.
All right, thank you so much for your contribution. We do want to take some more calls. It's 11:35. Have you had any more callers on the line? Hello, good morning, caller. You're on the air. Yes.
I would like to offer a suggestion to the police authorities.
Could you first turn down your radio?
To suggest to the legislators to adopt three strike out policy, a baseball type of policy. 3 strikes out. But in some cases, this is 4 offenses of the same nature. You confiscate their driver's license. Get them on the road.
Hello?
That's my suggestion.
Okay, caller, thank you for your contribution to the program. The phone lines are open at 662-8674. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good morning. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning. Hello?
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, caller. Could you speak up, please?
Yeah, what?
Sorry? Hello? Okay, I'm not hearing that caller clearly. It's 11:46. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation here on The Edge. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Under the distinguished patronage of the district president, Bishop the Reverend Damien E. Hughes, JP, and Mrs. Hughes, the Methodist Church St. Kitts Circuit MCCA Men's Commission presents an awards banquet honoring male local preachers on Friday, 25th April at the Carambola Beach Club at 6 in the evening. Donation $150. Tickets can be purchased at the church office on Seaton Street. Entertainment includes vocal, trumpet, and steel band renditions.
Welcome back to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and thank you so much for joining me in the program for today. It's 11:49, and the phone lines are open at 662-8674. That is 662-8674. Call and lend your voice to the conversation at hand. Very great discussion thus far, acknowledging or recognizing for the fact that we've had that for the past 6 months, we have not had any murders here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and we ought to recognize this as a significant achievement here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Again, people will say, don't speak too fast, and I disagree, because whenever there is a murder, we do not hesitate to report it. We do not hesitate to say, boy, they just killed somebody down the road. And so why can't we in the same breath recognize when we have not had a murder for a significant amount of time? We have a caller on the line, so we'll take this call. Hello, caller, on the air. Good morning.
Greetings, brother.
Hello?
Greetings.
Yes, caller. Good morning, yes.
How are you?
I am doing well, and you, sir?
Yes, sir. Let's go well, I am. Okay, speak fast. Don't bother with that. Speak fast. And we give thanks. Yeah, indeed. So you see murder thing in the 6836. Not pretty. It's not pretty. So speak fast. How much months has it gone? 6 months?
6 months, yes.
6 months. That is wonderful. Wonderful as the book was there. You want to go to 6 years and beyond.
You know, in the early 80s, we traveled to a country where the mother go on. And we wasn't boasting, but we were just saying, we come from a place. We come from another Caribbean island where we have more than 1, 3, 5, 6 years. And the person who commit the murder, them sorry, you know, it just happen in a way where them make them think what we go after them, man. That's in the 80s. And then after that, we see our kind of things start to go on in the 68 of the sea. No pity. Anyhow, 6 months, yeah, make it go to 6 years and beyond. Mm-hmm. You first call, he said something now. And we hope people listen to this. He said that the politics, even though he didn't disappoint himself, he said the politics have a lot to killing. And we listen to him and we hope other people are listening to him too. Because if that is so, you know, that means we have to put the politics out the door. That's it way. And make sure that the kids not there upon us. You see me? I don't know why he said, but he must know why he said. It'd be good if he can elaborate on it some more each time. You know? You see, with the whole thing, believe you me, it's up on the road. It does walk. Now and again, we're going to vehicle and we are chauffeur driven, and we just ride bicycle and we just ride bike. And believe you me, a lot of people on the road, a whole heap, say the most, but a whole heap of people on the road, not for people on the road. Them license take back. Here, that is the situation. And once they step on the road, we can look out to more and more and more deaths on the road. Give thanks to the time.
All right, caller, thank you so much for your contribution to the program. It's 11:53 and you're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. Call us at 662-8674. That is 662-8674. And for those of you who are just joining, we're on the topic of the fact that for the past 6 months we have not recorded any murders here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We will take our final call for the morning and then we'll wrap up the conversation for today. Caller, you are on the air. Good morning. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good morning. Hello. Caller. Hello, caller. Okay, I'm not hearing you very clearly. Please try to call us back. 662-8674. That is 662-8674. I think you can take at least one more call, or at max 2, before we end the discussion at noon for today. But we've been looking at the fact that for the past 6 months we have not recorded any murders and any on the road fatalities, which is absolutely crazy. And my heart goes out to the family and loved ones who have been affected by this. I think we have a call on the line, so let's take this final call for the morning. Caller, you're on the air.
Devonne?
Yes, caller. How are you? I am doing well, thank you. And you?
The boy, and don't let nobody fool you. Today is All Fool's Day. It's some father that you know not teacher. And some Devon. Have a blessed day.
All right, you too, caller, and thank you for your contribution to the program. You have been listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I've been your host, Devonne Cornelius. And thank you so much for joining me in the program for today, where we looked at this, what I would call a very significant achievement. It's not you're jumping and saying hip hip hooray, but you're simply and merely recognizing this that I believe is absolutely major. Until next time, you guys stay safe. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. Continue to enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. there won't be. Well, happening tomorrow is the Prime Minister's Roundtable discussion, which begins at 10 a.m. So because of that, I believe there will be a live broadcast of The Edge. So I will see you on a Thursday. God spare life and yours as well. You have a wonderful day.